Hello everyone, I'm Krishna Baidya. I lead Frost & Sullivan's customer experience and connected work research for the Asia Pacific region. And today I'm here at Horseshoe Bay at Austin, and I'm fortunate to be with Mr. Mani Vembu as the newly appointed CEO for the organization.
Yeah,
Welcome, Mani.
Thank you, Krishna. Thank you for being here.
So, Mani, let's just catch up a little bit about the transition, right? Sridhar has been one of those person who is probably synonymous with Zoho. Now you're stepping into a big shoe. What are the kind of early thoughts about getting into this new role?
Yeah, so see, we look at it, this transition as a, right, say, continuing with what we are doing because, right, say, most of the foundational blocks have been set. So we've been focusing on the R&D and Sridhar's transitioning into new role, right, say, is at the time where the technology transformations are happening. So in the past, we have done many, like from on-prem to cloud, cloud to mobile, right? So we have seen these transitions happen, and then we are now into a AI era where there is a huge transformation that is, right, say, ahead of us. And in order to make this transition successful, so we want to go deeper into the R&D. So we are seeing this as a continuity rather than a, right, say, major shift towards how we are doing things and what we are going to do in the future.
But of course, he's getting more into the research, which probably is very passionate about. He's like it's like his own baby. That sort of a feel I always get. But at the same time, I would love to hear how you're thinking that, now for next, say, 1 to 5 years, the roadmap, what are the kind of things you think should be doing? And I believe these are things which has already been in place, and probably you are just you probably have to just start accelerating that,
Yes.
right? So just talk us through a little bit about what should we expect in the near term and the little longer term.
Yeah, see, if you look at the, right, say, the last 5 to 7 years, right, say, my focus have been working in the CRM, CX, right, say, closely with the CX transformation journeys. Is like, right, say, you have been moving from being a product vendor to a platform vendor. There, right, so we are trying to open up more and more capabilities for, right, say, customers and partners to extend beyond what is available out of the box, right? And as part of this journey, we are also transitioning towards going vertical first, right? So that means, like, say, focusing on few verticals. Say, to give an example, in India, we have good success in BFSI, we have good success in DMS. So if you look at, say, since India is closer for, right, say, we have all the resources there, and then the market where, so we had, right, say, more credibility as in terms of, right, say, as a vendor for the mid-market, we have success stories. So we had quite a few success in the last, say, right, say, last 3-4 years with respect to the large businesses. Now, so I want to focus on how do we replicate this success? How do we take this platform story? So across different geographies, and then scale our mid-market and enterprise growth across different geographies. So that's going to be one of my primary, right, focus. And then now with, say, AI, right, Agentic AI, and, right, say, all the transition that is happening. So how do we integrate that into our platform? Seamlessly integrate that to our platform and make the customer experience smoother, right? So that means that, let's say, how do customer gets the value contextually? So where they are, how they are using. So, right, say, how do we do that, right? The transition for the customer, right? So that means we are going to, say, for example, we had conversation with, right, some of the larger customers. One thing they were saying is, like, say, they want us to hear from us on what they could do more with Zoho, right? So basically, they want us to do some solution consulting, some account management. So they want to listen to us, like, right, in terms of what all things Zoho could do more for them, right, as a platform vendor. So, and those areas, right, so we have to invest more in terms of talking to the customers more, identifying their business problem, identifying the different journeys they are handling within the platform, and then how do we bring in more journeys within the platform. So these are all the areas where I'm going to focus more on. So I'm going to work with our, say, geographical teams and then drive this message and see how we could actually increase the adoption, especially in the mid and large businesses.
And you guys has an awesome run in terms of the success, the growth story. Growth story is phenomenal. Like in the last 10 years, if you just look at the kind of index, the multiple index, just awesome. And then last 4 years, I think we saw like CAGR of 18%. And a lot of that also probably start to come through this move into the larger enterprise, that sort of an organization. So can you talk a little bit, like, what sort of contribution those deals are having today, and you already have a goal in terms of where you want that to be moving to. You already have a set target, and then probably in the early success, what you kind of mentioned, and from there, what are the kind of learnings you are taking, and then you are implementing that back into your products and services, or also probably your GTM approaches towards them, so that you can scale it across region.
Yeah. How do we scale that now, right? Say across different regions, because these are all very region specific today. Because in some regions we still might execute on a retail level. In some regions we have already started, right, executing for the mid and large businesses. So wherever we started our focus on this, so we are seeing the significant traction in terms of closure and inquiries and, right, say our successes. So now how do we say go, right, say go more aggressive on this, and how do we increase our growth in those? But that doesn't mean that we want to, right, say because SMB has been our strength.
Yeah.
So, right, say we want to do it with right, so with a focus on, right, digital first SMB. So if, for example, take our own product portfolio. So now we are really categorizing as what are the point products, what is the application platform, and then what is the developer platform. So that means, right, so we have products in 3 buckets. So we categorize them. And then we use this, right, say the point products as our SMB mode, right? So, and then our Zoho One bundle as the SMB, right, say focused initiative. And then the advantage we have, right, when by having these many product portfolios, like we get more land opportunities across these. So, for example, right, say when we are going to an enterprise, so they want to just they have some legacy system and they want to use, like, say, build a portal. So we have a low-code platform like Creator, where we use the Creator to build the portal and connect to their legacy, right? So that's a land opportunity for us in large enterprise. So we see that happening, right, across the geographies. So that becomes our land opportunity, and then, right, say we find that there are more avenues where we could actually add value to the customer, and then we expand into those opportunities, right? So that's how we are seeing. So that means, right, our GTM is always, like, say, finding the right opportunities, be it point product or the application platform or the developer platform. We would make the entry there, and then how do we expand, right, from there, right? So how do we build a relationship? How do we expand from there? And also making sure that our SMB base is not being affected through this transition, right? So because, and that base is our strength, and we want to actually, right, so maintain that strength.
Okay. Now, it's interesting that I just came off with a 101, the BPM service provider, and they kind of started off with customers, and then seems like they are looking into expanding on many other things they want to do, and then also being a potential partners, I think, is being evaluated. So I think it's pretty interesting that land and expand, that's working well, and with probably the kind of portfolio you have, the 55 plus apps portfolio. And so in there, though, again, there's a need to be a balance of what you get out of the box and what other elements you need to be still very specifically customized for specific customers. And what sort of approach do you take for balancing that out? Is it like everything to be done by Zoho, or there's a lot of reliance on increasingly to be with partners?
Some segments of market, we see that the out of the box is not the only solution or the preferred solution, because let's take even a CRM, for example, right? Say, or a HR market, or a ERP market, right? So these markets are, like, say, there is no ready-made products which you can plug and play and then start to use, because there is a process element to it. So the product comes with the pre-built functionality, but there are processes that is very unique to each organization. So let's take, right, say, the process reflect the culture of the organization. So, and the permission layers reflect the culture of the organization. For example, some companies will say that, oh, everybody can see everything, right, in a sales organization. In something, they will say that, no, it's all very defined, right? So this person at this role cannot see that role, right? So there is a governance there, right? So that means, and then same way, the approval process could vary, right? Some companies will say that, oh, okay, I have 3 levels of approval. Somebody will say that, no, I have 5, right? So these things cannot be, right, say, even at the industry level or at a, right, say, same domain level. So these things cannot be standardized. So that means, right, so there is a bit of implementation that is involved in every customer we do, right? So we have, from our experience working with, let's say, large customer base in CRM, we have seen that every customer do certain level of implementation, whether that is 5% more or 20% more or 40% more, depends on the complexity of their organization, right? Say, and then it depends on the vertical that they are focusing on, right? So say, for example, if they take the CRM today and then they use it for real estate, then from, let's say, even the fields, right, will change, because the products will change into properties. So there are a lot of changes that they have to do. The workflows changes, the integration changes. So all of these changes. Say in a small business, the integration complexity will be minimal because they don't have a legacy to integrate. But whenever we go to a large business, what we see is the integration complexity increases, like say 10x. So because they have a lot of legacy systems, some of them don't even talk, like, right, say they may not even have REST APIs, some of them are on-premise. So that means, right, say they need a lot of good connectors, like, right, say we have a bridge platform where we connect to the on-premise, right, so, and talk different protocols like SOAP, file, and all others, right. So that means the implementation, the integration complexity increases, and there is an implementation that is really must, right? So if you want to integrate with the ERP, you have to put an effort to integrate. And then ERP cannot be a standard integration, because what module, what data gets transferred between these, right? You don't know, right? Say that those are all very custom. So that's where, say, we have our own EBS, which does, right, say, some of these consulting, but we have a wide network of partners worldwide. So they, right, say they take up most of these integrations. So they work with the customers closely, and then they actually implement this, right? And if you take, say, the point products, say, let's take, say, a survey or sign, or, right, say, expense management, or, right, so campaign management, email campaign. So those are all really, like, right, plug and play opportunities where, and then we also call them as horizontal apps. That means, right, so it doesn't change for each industry,
verticals,
right? So it doesn't change for, manufacturing will do a different kind of campaign, and retail, right? So these are all, like, say, some of the horizontal apps, right? And then you can actually plug and play those based on the customer requirements. So the customer wants to, say, do a e-signature, then they can actually add on, right, to that. Or the customer might land in the signature, right, e-sign itself, or the customers land in a survey, right? So that means, right, that also gives us an opportunity to work with the customer, know them better, right, then expand to other, right, areas. So the point products where the implementations are there is not much implementation, it is only configuration and integration. Whereas in a platform like CRM or HR or ITSM, we see a lot of implementation opportunity for the partners.
Okay, great. And let's go back to one of those things you kind of mentioned, and it was, of course, obviously in the morning sessions as well, the AI embed. And I think the whole industry is just so excited about AI and everything AI. And probably now people may think like, oh, we have been talking about for a while, but we have not touched on AI. So let's dive into AI and the approach for Zoho. What should the customers expect? And before getting to AI and the agentic AI, and that stuff, but importance of data and how Zoho takes a little different approach in terms of how you can help organizations to quickly get value through the things you can bring for them, and help them to realize the value quickly.
Yeah, see, the way we have looked at AI is, like, say, we started investing in AI, like, say, 10 years before. And then we had, like, right, say, we gave some contextual, pre-built functionality. Say, for example, in our CRM, we show best time to contact, where it, say, understands, right, say, based on the customer touch points, when the customer is sending email, when they are responding, when they are attending calls, when the calls go for missed calls happen. Based on that, we will give the best time to contact. Same way, we will give best mode of contact, then voice of customer. So a lot of stuff we made it as contextually available AI functionality, which the customer may not even know that AI is working there. It's all behind the scene. So anomaly detection, say, right, say, some prediction, then, like, rate sentiment analysis, all those are, right, say, part of it. And say that is one generation of AI. Then the, right, say, generative AI came. Then we started giving, like, say, summarization, right? So all those, right? So now the agentic thing comes, right? So if you look at say the evolution for us. So for us, we see, as I said, right, as part of our framework, we have the search, which is like, right, say common across all the Zoho apps. And then that means all the data, right, say comes into our search layer. And that's where we are building our Ask Zia capability, right? So that means like, right, so anything you query about, so all the data is available for the search, right? So that means, right, so that actually, right, that becomes our source of truth for the AI, right?
Yeah.
So that's where, and then it is also governed already. So our search is already governed. So that means, right, the user who doesn't have a permission cannot access to that data.
Right, and actually, I liked. Sorry to interrupt, but I like that what was said, the privacy first AI.
Yeah, yes, exactly, right. So that's because see, we deal with business data, customer data. So that means, right, say we have to ensure that, so the right, because see, what we learned from our experience implementing CRM is the customers are very specific about what access they give at each role level.
Yeah.
Right. So that's extremely, right. The governance at the, right, the administrative level is extremely important, right? So because the administrator want to ensure that they give the right permission for the right users. Say, for example, right, say every module like lead or contact or account or opportunity has import and export as default feature.
Right.
But then that may not be enabled for all the users because, right, so you can't just easily export all the data and then, right, say, because there is valuable customer information that is available. So that means there should be some guardrails, right? So, and we actually, right, in our agent platform, so the low-code platform, we allow customers to specify these guardrails, right? Say we allow customers to input the knowledge, right? Say, and then so that it becomes very meaningful and contextual for their use case. So that's how we are evolving, right? So that means we use the existing framework and, right, say for us, the data layer has been consolidated and it's already available as part of our search. So when we built the Zoho one as a bundle, so the entire search across all the apps is powered by a central search. So that means, right, so we gave the power of searching across the Zoho ecosystem of apps data, be it structural or unstructured data, so at one place. So we already have done it. So the data consolidation we have already done. So that means, right, it's only enabling the, right, AI to understand this and then give meaningful responses in terms of, right, Ask Zia. So, and in agent layer also, right, we use the same source of truth of data and then we allow customers to build meaningful agents. So we give the builder for them. So, right, you have seen the demo where, right, and then we also want to make sure that it is very contextual. Say, for example, so that's why we call this, right, say a lot of assistants that automatically autonomous and, right, they does the work in terms of, say, filling an RFP or scheduling a meeting for the account manager or sending the response for the support agent, say, or say watching the support agent. For example, if you want to tell the agent that, right, so the response from the support should be polite. So now the agent can actually watch for the response. It can see the content and then say pop up saying that, right, this response looks so aggressive. So do you want to change it to be in a polite tone? Then it actually, right, can write it in a polite tone and then, right, help the agent, right? So this is something we cannot do because we can't just put someone who monitors all the responses.
Correct.
But you have to contextually do those so that it say for the user, it is helping them be more productive rather than seeing it as like, right, say it is monitoring them or doing something. So that's how we are seeing the AI, right? So wherever contextually we want to plug in, wherever we want to add value, we want to make the individuals productive. So that's where we are investing more.
And also help me understand a little bit in terms of differentiation, because what happens is now almost every vendor is coming up with their own message, which again seems to be a very similar line. And for end users, it gets a lot more difficult to actually choose. We try to play certain roles in that decision making, but then again, if you have to tell them what are the things they should be looking at from Zoho, and then you could say like, okay, this is something really distinguish you from the other competitors.
Yeah. So if you take our strength, right, our strength have always been easy to implement, because easy to use is one side of it where it's for the end user benefit. But then before we get into the end user, there is a layer in the organization who is the IT, who implements the solution for the end user, right? So that means how easy it is for them to implement our solution. So what is the learning curve for them to implement this, right? So, and that's where our low-code expertise come in. So if you look at the last 5 to 8 years, we have heavily invested on building these low-code tools, right? So, and we have, right, say we have built tool for every, say, right, say for data collection, for data processing, for report generation, right? So for even the UI builder, right? So that means because we realize that that is where most of the, right, enterprise platforms get complex. So even though they say low code, it's not the easy low code. That, right, say it won't be as easy as a Photoshop. If you take our own, right, say canvas builder, it's right, say it's just as easy as a Photoshop, right? You can just drag and drop, but then it's very dynamic. So, right, so you don't have to do any coding. You just, when you need the taste, you need to know, understand your user, you need to understand what is there, right? What will be easier for them, then you can actually build it. Right? We have seen customers who build like more than 50 screens, custom screens. So if that is our main differentiator. So faster time to implement, learning curve, right? There is a very minimal learning curve. Then the barrier to entry is, right, so very low. So that means, right, you don't have to go through a 3 months training program to get onboarded, right? And that's where our whole retail self-service, because see, we came from a very inbound motion.
Yeah.
That means, right, in inbound, if you have, right, if there is any friction in terms of user experience, then you're going to have churns or the conversion is going to be low. So, and when we were, right, when we optimized our user experience for inbound, we made it actually easy. And then we are using that strength while entering into the enterprise, where we are adding more tools. We are giving them more tools, more advanced tools. So for example, our process builder, you can actually build any complex process across any industries. So it could be a 3-step process or a 20-step process. It doesn't matter. You can actually build them, right? And right, so, and then we also allow contextual coding. So we don't let just customers with only low-code tools and then no flexibility in terms of advanced options. So take, for example, assignment rule. If you want to do a round-robin assignment, you want to do rule-based assignment, you can actually do it in low-code. But your assignment goes more complex, where you want to, say, do a query on a third-party system or your HR system and then see based on attendance and based on certain things, right? Skill set you want to do an assignment, then you could actually write code there. So that piece of code you write there, then the assignment can happen there, right? So that means we allow contextual coding wherever it is necessary, but we don't force you into learning to code to start the implementation. So we make it right easy. That's our differentiation.
Right. No, and thanks for explaining this, because this is again kind of explain what we saw in the morning, the couple of slides when Vijay was talking about customer queries, and then how much of that actually gets into eventually signing up, and then retention, probably that, as easy it is for them to test and become paid subscriber and everything. So I think the success is definitely very obvious there.
Yes.
And yeah. And one other area which I would like to just touch upon on is when people start talking about AI, and then every day there's so much news come about, and there's always this different model, another new one keep coming. And what kind of pressure it puts on companies like Zoho, and what is the approach for you as well? Like when you are also building your own models in some ways, and then there's other models which is coming in the market. Some of them are also even open source, and then probably every different ones bring in different capability, different efficiency in certain parameters. So can you talk a little bit about how you're helping your customers to navigate through this complexity of what do I choose? Is this right? Or am I getting lost into like, okay, I go in this path and then I miss out on the greater opportunity? So how you're helping customers in that journey?
Yeah, so see, as an R&D organization, right, so we also focus on being bottom up. That means, right, so we want to, we see this like, right, in two ways, where when anything new, right, we have seen this with mobile era when mobile started. So in an exploratory phase, we want to actually allow a lot of experiments to happen. So, right, we encourage, right, our employees and our developers to go and experiment, our engineers to go and experiment a lot. So we don't, right, say optimize on the mistakes that they do, right? Because we generally have a mistake tolerant system. We built it as a culture, not a mistake avoidance, right? So that means we only ensure that the mistakes are not shipped to the customer, right? So internally we want to do, because R&D is all about, right, say testing it. And so that means, right, say a lot of things are tested across different teams. Like we have labs separate, right, R&D teams, like, right, so which focuses only on the new emerging technologies. And then we want to spend a lot of time in terms of iterating these. And then as we build the conviction, right, say as we explore, we start to build some convictions around what is the direction we want to take, right? Say with generative AI, say with, right, say Agentic AI. So we want to actually take the time in terms of building our convictions. So be it, say, low code, right? So be it the enterprise platform. So we, right, say we look at the trends, we look at the, right, we experiment with that. And as Zoho runs on Zoho, so we have more than 18,000 employees who runs on Zoho. So we become our own first customer, right? So we deploy certain things in our own environment and then we test it out, right? And then see how it works. So whether it works. So, and then if it is not working, take the learning and do the next iteration. And since we have decided to be in the long game, we never attempted to be the first, right? Rather, we want to, right, make sure that we make the fundamental right choices. So, for example, when we made the choice of going our own cloud in 2005, right? So it was like, say, think about 20 years before we made that call, and 20 years later we don't even know that the advantages will pass on now, right? But then we made that call because we know we want to build multiple apps. We know we want to, right, say we are going to cover the end-to-end. So that means we know that we have to own the technology stack. So that's why we built our IAM service, right? Our messaging service, our audio video capabilities, everything, right? Say from scratch. So some of those fundamental directions, we want to make sure that we make the right choices. So, and especially in technology, we need to, we spend a lot of time in terms of choosing the right technology, because that's where you can't go back, right? Say 5 years later, we can't just say that, oh, okay, because that becomes a huge transition, right? So those, and right, so that's where we take our time, we do all the experiments, we explore a lot. So, right, we allow people to experiment constantly, and then we find, right, say we form our opinions, we form our convictions, and then, right, we go with the solution to the customer, we test it out, and then we, right, say because even the platform direction, so we have tested it enough to, right, go all out now, right, in terms of extending this success.
And just one other bit is, you have so many different product lines, the platforms, right? Whether CX platform, IoT platform, EX platform, finance platform, and everything. And then you are coming from small, medium, now moving into the enterprise market. But out of all of this, if you have to tell customers, what should they remember Zoho as? What would be that 3-line statement saying like, okay, look, this is what Zoho we stand, this is what we bring, and this is why you should look at someone like us?
So the first and most important is operational efficiency, right? So Zoho will bring operational efficiency to, right, say any business, because of, right, the whole low code enablement we do, because of the price structure we have, right? So for example, with AI, right, we are not actually increasing our price for agent, so we are actually bundling it inside. Same way we offer Zoho One to our customers. Any new product that comes into Zoho One, we are not charging the customer extra. So that's already part of the subscription, right? So that's what we stand for, right? Say operational efficiency. So so customers can actually make their operations very efficient with Zoho. So that's the only thing I would say, like, right? The customers want to remember about Zoho.
Okay, awesome. And that of course shows that how customer focused, and then the creating value for them, and that's probably seen very much in terms of the kind of success you have, and this is awesome. And once again, congratulations on the new role, and I hope it just goes strength to strength going forward.
Yeah, thank you,
Thanks.
thank you, Krishna.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you very much. Yeah.
Thanks.